Welcome back to the Explorer. I want to thank you for joining from wherever you're watching us from around the world. I appreciate your time as always. This is a complex time across the region, specifically in West Africa, as the continent of Africa is going through tremendous challenges at the moment and is figuring out itself if it can take full control in its own potential and make some strategic choices. And more importantly, African nationals across the board are beginning to pay attention in the global geopolitical events that is shaping their own region. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because the events that are happening currently in West Africa, specifically looking at what's going on in the country of Benin, it's not a one-off. It goes back to what I've been saying, that the particular model around this region is not going to be favoring the growth, the investment, the development, the expansion, and more importantly, the healthcare and a whole lot of very important fundamentals that was needed or is needed to skyrocket this particular region. Why am I saying this? This region have been told that they are practicing democracy, of which that's not what is being practiced so far. The model that was exported or imported and installed needs to be uprooted because the nationals and the officials at the moment are struggling to figure out what's going to work. That's why you see some officials, especially in the country of Benin, are consolidating power, are preventing the growth and expansion of that particular country. And the coup in the country of Benin is not a one-off. It goes back to history to consider how this particular region, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Guinea, you name the rest, are beginning to pay attention that the model that was handed to them is not of their own interest. I have a very important video to play. The current expert is an ECOWAS communication expert who basically explained that there is just no democracy with regards to this region and when the African continent is concerned. It's not about the countries themselves. It is a system that was handed to them and some of them are struggling. Make no mistake, some of the leaders in these countries themselves have also blown the opportunity to advance, to develop, to institute some particular fundamentals that should be good for their own people. However, these nations are struggling to put away a system that they themselves never built, and they don't know how it's going to be working to ensure that they become more competitive. To give you more context on this, let's go to this ECOWAS expert who went to the television station Aljazeera to explain that there is no democracy in the part of West Africa, and more importantly, in the country of Benin. Let's play this clip.
Democracy would be a reality or not in West Africa.
Adama, with all that in mind, what is that root cause in your belief?
The root cause is that we don't have democracy. We pretend to have democracy in all of the West African countries. In addition to that, the economic conditions of the people is very bad. It's worsening. Improving a lot of few people, inequalities, and the fact that people are mismanaging democracy to sustain themselves in power. If they don't become very serious and honest about promoting real democracy, rule of law, good governance, freedom of expression, freedom of opinion, all those things that are part of the democratic process, they are exposing themselves, those leaders from Nigeria, even where there has been a coup attempt to Cote d'Ivoire, to Senegal, across the West African region, military coup will continue to be a reality.
Talking about consolidation, the model that they are having favors only the upper echelon of the system. The France Afrique is behind with regards to this particular system and needs to be changed. It should be changed in a way that allows the people, the citizens, the officials of the country to realize their full potential. If that is not replaced, all of this talking back and forth, the coups in Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and the rest will still continue. Well, you have to put in a system in place that is designed for everyone in the country to enable them to discover their full potential. This situation in the country of Benin goes back to the current difficulties that is happening across that particular part of the continent of Africa. This area has been an area where France's foreign policy has been crumbling. It's not as if it's happening by chance. No, It's a system that has been rejected over and over. So the notion that democracy is being spread in that region, I think it's a fundamental mistake with regards to the reason why. This expert think is completely different on what these countries are facing. Let's roll this clip.
Adama, the thing here is also, I mean, as you mentioned, Patrick Talon was due to step down the next presidential election, slated for April, and his replacement, or his nomination for his replacement anyway, was already set. So, I mean, with the idea that he was going to be stepping down in just a few months, it must be a surprise that the military or factions within the military have acted in this way.
Yes, because, of course, everybody had the feeling that it was going to be a smooth transition because really, in economic terms, in terms of infrastructure, Benin Republic was doing marvelous. It was achieving great strides towards its economic development. Myself, I was supposed to go after tomorrow to meet key business people interested in distribution of petroleum products in West Africa coming from Europe. But this is no longer possible. Why this has happened? Maybe the fact that actually this transition from Mr. Talon to a newly elected president next year was not seen as something as genuine. People believe that is the Medvedev-Putin type of transition where Mr. Talon will put a figurehead in his place and continue running the show from behind the scene. So this is something, this fake type of democracy that may have prompted the military to stage this coup. Whether they will succeed or not is early to say, because only what we know is that they've tried. Will they succeed? It is not new in West Africa, because recently we have heard there is a coup in Guinea-Bissau with the advent of the military taking over from Sissoko Embalo, the embattled president of that country, to the point that the ECOWAS, the regional body, economic community of West African states, was due to convening a meeting, a summit of heads of state on 14th of December to discuss the coup in Guinea-Bissau. Most likely they will have to discuss also the problems afflicting the West African region in terms of military intervention, eruption in the region, from Benin, from Guinea-Bissau to Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. The time of military coup is back in West Africa, and I think that there is a need to seriously address the root cause, not the symptoms of these coups, in order to see whether really the democracy would be a reality or not in West Africa.
And I wonder what's really happening, because the regional organization pay attention on issues just after they happen. ECOWAS is not an organization that is ready, is prepared to tackle the challenges of the 21st century. ECOWAS is not ready with regards to what's happening in its own backyard. And for ECOWAS to come in over talking about going into Benin, of which ECOWAS does have a lot of issues happening across that region, I think it's a fundamental mistake with the reason why. ECOWAS is trying to claim relevance at this very important time when African countries are beginning to figure out themselves to benchmark every strategic partner that they are working with. So the system that is in place, ECOWAS does not understand that that particular system needs to be uprooted in West Africa, French speaking. Let me know in the comment section what you think with regards to these complexities that are currently going on at the moment, and why do you think this ECOWAS official does understand what the basics are in that particular region of the continent of Africa, and why Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and even the country of Senegal, more importantly the darling of France, Ivory Coast, have come up to the realization that the strategic military partnership was not working, and they have requested that France's troops leave their own territory. We've seen the country of Chad. Of course, Chad has gone through tremendous difficulties as well. Again, that's not what we are talking about here. What we are saying here, these countries should be free to diversify their strategic partnership and look for alternatives to grow their particular model and meet the particular needs of their own people. For now, I will be looking forward to meeting you soon in our next episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.